not sure if any one of you have noticed, but I am beautiful. Not just as a person, but as society norms. I am slim, a wheatish complexion people would go to the beach for. And the person who is standing over here with the thinking the thought of having the lowest confidence in myself. But as you hear me for the next 10 minutes, you will be impressed by how good communication skills and my language grab is. But I'm sure on one thing also, that you won't be able to pronounce my name in one go. Hi, I am Anoushika Verma. Shall I say it again in a slowly way? Anoushika. The spelling says the same. The spelling is much pretty different. And that makes me apart from the others. In few moments, words seem to escape us. I am talking about those moments when we feel at our lowest, when the storms with silence and suppression surrounds us. And in those moments, we feel isolated and we wanted to hide ourselves under the folds of the blanket that reserves the place where you can sit with yourself. Every word, every glance that teenagers put on you, the judgments, the perspectives they put on you, it feels magnified. It's a pretty awkward, vulnerable age when you are at the age of 14 or 15 years. Teenagers seek acceptance. They seek validation from others, from the peers they are surrounded by, and they seek a sense of belongingness. We are expected to define ourselves at such an early age. But if we didn't do it, others do it for us. Those naive, inconsiderate eyes put so much judgments on you on so small topics that you would feel that you would have hide yourself or buried yourself under some tree where no one can see you. My story is this how this girl, drowning into these emotions, each day and every day, tried her best to come out of that situation. She woke up every day with the thought that someday someone will accept her despite her insecurities or whatever she's feeling inferior of. For this girl, this place has become a big, mean, wretched place into her eyes. But if I have to define you one thing, which is when people judge you on your insecurities, when they make fun of you in front of others, when they try to make you feel inferior, it is not something okay. It is bullying. The person who is on the receiving end feels devastated. They feel they are not allowed to be here and they are not being required in any of the group. But let me introduce to my one of the beautiful bullies to you. This is the person who is smart, overly extroverted, kind with others. She would do anything to stay in the limelight. But, in short, a cunning person. But on the other side of her traits, she would do anything to let me down. Making fun of my appearance, making fun of my stature, the color of the skin tone I have, the placements of my teeth. She used to make fun of these little insecurities. And as a result, and as a teenager, I would hide into something that would escape me from all of these bullies. It wasn't easy to face this. It wasn't easy to even hear this into a particular group, which is not accepting you for who you are. But you are accepted on those bases when you're beautiful enough for that particular group. This doesn't make any sense now, but it made a lot of sense when I was that age. She consistently targeted me. That constant barrage of insults she used to do with me. The reason she used to do this, because she had that social influence, that power, that a particular group with which she is allowed into her eyes to do anything to a particular person she wants to do. Another reason, making fun of someone's name. It's not a small thing to do to someone. They used to make fun of my name. They used to mock me over and over again for the name that I have. In those moments, I felt exiled. I felt isolated. I felt alone, as if there is no one to hear me, as if there is no one to see my pain into my eyes or into my heart. That the words she is pouring onto me, how heart-wrenching they are and how deeply they are cutting my heart into. But as a response, I would fight with my family, and in particular with my mother, for giving me this name. Not just for particular days, I would fight with her for weeks. Why do you give me this name where it is not accepted by anyone? They are making fun of me, they are not accepting me. But in those moments, my mother consoled me. She used to explain me each and every day the beautiful meaning of my name. A girl who is able to achieve her dreams and aspirations. And how I should be not bothered about it. But no one was living my life into those moments. I was too young, I was too young to grasp the concept of what's in the name. After all, we deserve what we are. Rather taking my name as a unique or maybe appraising it that you are unique, your name is unique just like you are. The vice versa happened. They made fun of it. And it just crushed my self-image, my self-esteem. But on the other hand, they didn't have these particular reasons only to make me feel inferior. They used to make fun of my English accent. Despite that, I worked on it, but they used to make fun of my English accent and the fluency I had. While my other classmates had the audacity to tell me, just get over it, Anoushika, it's not a big deal. But wasn't it? If it has to be you on the receiving end, would you be able to accept it? Would you be able to hear it? When a group of people are rejecting you, making you feel dejected, embarrassed and isolated in front of others. When you are not able to express yourselves, when you are that person who thinks that you deserve a place under the four walls where you can confide. There wasn't anybody else. In those moments, there was no one to speak with. I had no one. Not best friends, a group of friends, or maybe someone, my neighbors, or whatever reasons you find. In those moments, I wrote the first line in my journal, which was, does my existence matter to anyone? I cried, I wrote pages after pages. I felt isolated, I was alone, and I was feeling drained of emotions. These moments are pretty normal to hear from the other side. But if you are on this side, you will feel that you are not required here. At one point of a time, I almost decided to cease to exist. If there is no requirement for me to be here, why should I be here? But when I wrote my journal, I hear the power within me. I saw that there is power within me and there is something I can do for others too. Journaling served me a refuge, a solace, a place where my thoughts could rest peacefully, without judgments, without perspectives. But in those moments, two things have hidden me into a storm, which are isolation and solitude. Yet they are different, but they hidden me into that. And I wasn't able to express myself enough. I was young enough, I was naive enough too, to believe that they are all judgments, they are all assumptions they are making about me. And I wasn't allowed to accept them, but I did, because I found no other reason. That particular person who would tell me that they are just mere judgments you are accepting and you are crushing your heart onto. But I did crush my heart so many times. Some of my journals were so heavy with words, were so heavy with sad tears that I had to dismantle them in order to not to think of them again and again, and not to shatter myself over and over again. As the years are passing, I dismantled them, not to just to see them, the emotions that I had at that particular point of time when I felt isolated and dejected. Journal served as the mirror to my soul. I embraced my emotions. Rather, not accepting them, I accepted them too, in order to feel those emotions again and again. They are important for you to find the true self. But in the middle of this storm, two different perspectives came into my picture: close observation and overthinking. While close observation allowed me to grasp the concept of human behavior and the judgments and the perspectives, on the other hand, overthinking led me to a spiral of negativity, self-doubt, where I used to think so negative about me that I now feel why I did that, why these thoughts came into my mind. But on the other hand, when I felt those emotions, at that time, I felt comfortable that these emotions are wrapping into me something that if I someday vanished, no one would care about me. No one would be thinking about me that where is she? But it's all adding to one place, which is self-sabotage. I was into that place for a very long time. These judgments are merely pointless insecurities people would throw at you. They are something which are acceptable by others, which are enjoyable by others, but not on the receiving end. They would make fun of each and everything of me, and they would not spare anything to let me up. They would snatch my possessions. They would awkwardly present me into some new group or maybe into some new competition. They would do each and everything to let me down. But as the years progressed, I wrote in my journal, I written all of those emotions. But when I reflect back at them, I feel those emotions were necessary for me to develop my true self, to hear the voice within me. When I hear that voice, I find it wasn't something that should be acceptable by me. I should embrace myself for my insecurities, for whatever reason I'm feeling, the particular reason I'm feeling. I should accept it, not to reject it, because this is who I am. If I change myself, so what is the point of my existence? If I'm living my life for somebody else, then what is the point of living into myself? I wrote, I cried, I felt isolated. In those moments, I found a refuge, which my mother told me that when you accept yourself and when you try to disrespect somebody else, and when you try to not to match the capacity which others are thinking you won't be able to do, you will feel that you are unique. If you are not following somebody else's standards or anything else, you will feel you are unique. You are carrying forward your own identity. I'm not living for anybody else. And I would think on it for nights and nights and for days. I would do also one thing when they used to make fun of me and those days, those weeks were so harsh to go by. I would just get on days absent for weeks or maybe for a month. I did that when I was in class 9th, when I started early into a new school. I used to stay absent for a week just to mere reason that I had a stomachache or a headache. My mother told me that you are lying, I know. But on one particular day, she found that I was lying. And the reason, when she asked me the reason, I cried. I cried my heart out that this is the particular reason I'm not going to school, and they're constantly mocking me over and over again. And in those particular moments, my mother cried too. And we sat together and we had a discussion when she told me that you are unique enough. Don't be afraid. And when I had this conversation, I felt power. I felt that power within me, that I am something which is not accepted by anyone. That's okay. I'm here for my parents. I'm here for me, to surpass them into some situations that they would think of to lay me down under something of blanket. Like they would used to suppress me. They would used to bully me on certain pointless insecurities that I would feel that these are important. But no. After all these years, when I am confident enough to speak up on this topic, when I'm confident enough to share this with each and every one of you, now I feel whenever I look at someone going through the same misery as I once did, I sit with them. I sit with them without judgments, without assumptions, advising, or anything else. Anything that would come up to your mind. I would sit with them with empathy, would listen to them without any objections, and I want that person to confide in me for that particular brave conversations. These conversations are not just normal conversations. These are brave conversations because on the other hand, the person is trying to cease to exist. They don't want to exist anymore. They want to confide themselves into the folds of their blanket. But to have these conversations, to have this heart, it needs to be one. And I'm that person. I'm elated to say that whenever someone comes to me with these conversations, when they try to explain each and everything which is disturbing them or which is dismantling their mental health, I'm there. I'm listening to them without any assumptions past. And they would confide in me, and I would give them the same suggestions that you should journal too. Because it's not just a word, it's not just a process. It's a life-changing mantra that you should follow. Journaling pulled me out of those emotions. Journaling pulled me out of those suppressing moments, disturbing moments when I felt dejected. In concluding part, I have a very important line to say. Life happens in a pattern of crests and troughs. It's important to go through highs and the lows in order to see yourself in those emotions, in order to accept them and embrace them, not to just reject them, to embrace these emotions and to look forward to life, to many more opportunities, to many more new people, to the opportunities that you would never ever think of. And there are 1,000 different capacities springing up in you. And even during the storm, you can shine at your full brightness. Thank you.